Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, joining after a Miami Heat Game 1 loss to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. That's round one for you squares out there. Heat lose 114-94 in a thorough ass kicking. There were pockets, there were moments where the Heat looked like they were going to be a little chippy. Even one there very much at the end where DeLon Wright just started to turn into Ray Allen. And, Al Horford's freaking out. He's yelling at his teammates. But Miami just wasn't able to come up with enough firepower throughout this game. I mean, the huge discrepancy in this game was, to nobody's surprise, is the three-point shot. Miami just did not have enough from downtown today. In fact, it looks a lot better than it is because of that fourth quarter. But if you were to go quarters 1 through 3, where Miami goes into the fourth quarter down 91-59. Miami was 5 of 28 from downtown. Boston was 19 of 43. I mean, that's basically like it's like a speedboat going up against a canoe. Like it really had no shot there. I think if you're a Heat fan, the most disappointing thing, you come out of the game, you knew you were going to probably take a haymaker from them, which you did. And that was really, that was in a way not surprising. Boston's been sitting around for 2 weeks, so it's going to go one of two ways, right? They're either geeked up or they're going to be rusty. And they didn't miss off the jump. They get out to a 17. They get out to a 14-0 lead. It gets up as high as 17-2. And from that point, some of the encouraging things that really happened, and I think the most encouraging thing out of this game was the play of your two young guys in Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jović. I mean, they, while there were definitely some misses and there were they were not shy today, and I love that. And one of the things that I said coming into this series, and even going into the play-in games, where people are like, "Oh, do you want to make the playoffs?" You absolutely want to make the playoffs because you want to get those reps for the young guys. You're going to be up against it. You don't have your starting point guard in Terry Rozier. You don't have Jimmy Butler. So what can you get from those two individuals that will benefit them in this series, and then of course for future series to come? You don't like just to punt on stuff like that. And man, I thought Jović had some great moments, man. He had a block on Jaylen Brown. He would played really nice defensively, went all the way down the court for tough buckets. So he looked fantastic. Jaime, again, we've been saying this now for it seems about probably like 2-3 weeks. He just looks, completely over the rookie wall and looks like he's got a bounce back. He's got his confidence. He's attacking the rim. So those were definitely, I think, for anybody. And then obviously DeLon Wright was unconscious from 3 in the second half of this game. So, and really the only player who could do that for the Miami Heat. So those are the positives that you take out of this one. Bam, I thought Bam had a pretty solid game, but it was tough because it felt very much like, he's trying to get the shooters open. It's a tough Celtics defense. The firepower was there for them. By far, for them, they're two. I mean, Tatum was really good, and then Porzingis was basically unstoppable for them today. So they got great performances from their guys on that end. Really, if you were to look at this game, I mean, I'm looking at the box score of Jaylen Brown finishing with 17 points. I think I recall the first. I remember him getting the first two because he had the 3-ball, and then he used Hawk as like a pylon. But I really don't remember him. I can't believe that guy makes $300 million. Like, can you imagine a guy you barely remember being in the game, and he is the richest contract in the league, that he makes $300 million? And then not only that, is just sensitive because you have this game, right? It's in hand. I mean, like, the Celtics are about to win this game, right? But the Miami Heat are not going to stop competing. That's not what they do. So it's a 20 – it's like a 18, 20-point game at this point. And the Heat have a miss. And, one of the things that really killed them today was second chance points. I'm sure in timeout, Spo is probably ripping them a new asshole about getting after the basketball. So Caleb Martin goes in. He crashes the boards to try and get a rebound. He bumps into Jason Tatum, who then goes flying, lands flat on his back. And he pops right back up. And, in fact, before he pops right back up, Caleb Martin even reaches to go try and help. He obviously felt bad for an accident that had happened. And there's Jaylen Brown. I mean, Duncan Robinson already told you, this dude's not built like that, all right? And what does he do? He like, flicks the hand away and then does a little stare down. Dude, like, if you're not there, just kindly go. You're not going to do anything to Caleb Martin. And, you know, even so, like, Caleb Martin and Jayson Tatum could go handle it themselves like they did to the end of the game, to the end of the whistle, where Caleb's all over Tatum. Tatum hits him with a hard elbow. No call. We can move on. And that's it. That's how grown-ups should handle it. And Jaylen Brown just wants to be seen, I guess, by somebody that he's doing something, because he knows that he coasted through this entire game. Really, you know, was like the 9th most important Celtic, even though he gets paid more handsomely than all of them. Like, yeah, you had Hauser was more of a killer today than he was. So it's fine. Whatever. I mean, I don't think it's I'm sure he's gonna say something really stupid after the game. I'm doing this before post game. I'm sure he'll, you know, make it seem like, oh, I was there to stand up for my guys, because a brawl was because Caleb Martin, who was trying to help up Jayson Tatum, was ready to start a brawl. I mean, whatever. So, and I will say, look, you knew coming into this broadcast was going to be, I mean, it was basically like you were out there watching Nesson or WEEI or whatever those O'Keefes watch up there, but they're really like. Jayson Tatum is a phenomenal basketball player. If I never heard him speak another word, I think we'd all just be better off of the interest of the mystery. It's kind of like Jokic, right? Like, I didn't hear Jokic speak that much, and that's kind of like part of the mystery. And then part of it was charming because it's like, you know, there's things I like more than basketball. This guy, though, it's like they're trying so hard to like give this guy this persona that he just doesn't have, right? Like, they're like, oh, we got Jayson Tatum mic'd up today. Jason? And then it's like he's talking to Derek White, and it's like, been waiting all year for this, Derek. Mic check 1, 2. Can I make this sound cool? Regular season, even the play-in, the wait is over. And Doris like comes back and she's like, oh my God, Mike, trying to exercise those demons. I'm like, yeah, they're trying to exercise those demons without facing their arch nemesis. Without facing the lead devil, that's how they're trying to do that. And just like, oh my God, they're dying to make this guy something that is interesting to anybody, you know. And it's just not there. And Porzingis seems interesting. He seems like a hoot, but you know, Tatum, I was just like, oh my God. Every time with this, they're trying to force this guy, and like, you know what? He's not Anthony Edwards. He's not the most interesting personality in the world. You know, he's not Kyrie Irving. He's not these guys who are just like, you know, that not only does he kick ass, he's a lot more like, you know, like Kevin Durant without the burner accounts. You know, it's like the guy's a great hooper. He's an amazing basketball player. That can just be it. We don't have to try and build some more mythology and narrative around him. Anyway, let's get to the real root of today. What really sucked for the Miami Heat. Tyler Herro's got to be better. I mean, you know, again, this is the thing that we were all looking at coming into this is like, all right, there's no Jimmy. Bam, Tyler, your opportunity here. And yeah, Tyler just didn't have it today, man. He just couldn't make shots. The team made him very uncomfortable. The one thing you could say about Boston, I mean, they threw a lot of different stuff, but just like blocking his floaters, blocking his 3-ball. You know, really up until the fourth quarter where he hit a couple of threes, wanted no business around the basketball, was trying to play hot potato back to Caleb Martin. That's the thing with Tyler, you know, like sometimes he's just got to let that puppy fly, and, you know, he just wants stuff so clean all the time. And he's just got to be better if Miami is going to do anything in this series. I thought they had looks. I thought Miami had looks today. You know, but there's difference between, you know, all year there's been a difference between Boston having looks and Heat having looks. The Heat aren't a good offensive team, but when they do generate those good looks, they have to be there, and you absolutely just can't allow, you know, Boston to crush you on the second chance opportunities. They doubled you up today there. You know, you just can't have that in a game where you need every point to count and you can't give them extra opportunities. That was definitely a tough one. But obviously the 3-point discrepancy was the biggest thing, and probably will be the biggest thing throughout the series. And so you can't afford a couple of things. One, you're going to need in these series, you're going to need a Tyler Herro to, give you 6 threes in a game, one of these, or Duncan Robinson to give you 6 threes. And from them, they got that today from multiple guys. They had one, two, they had Hauser hit 4 from downtown. Derek White hit 4 from downtown. Porzingis hit 4 from downtown. Jaylen, I completely forgot Jaylen Brown. He had 3 from downtown. You wouldn't remember any of them other than the one that started the game. But that's by far the biggest discrepancy on this team when you're talking about the just the math game and trying to keep up with them, because it felt like every time Miami made something of it. There were a couple moments where they did do it because they got down 15. Kevin Love comes in. That bench crew does a great job. Kevin was able to cut it down to 5. They were down 26. And then you come in to start that second quarter, and Sam Hauser just goes in and just goes absolutely nuclear, just lighting up the Heat zone, and just all up with it with the 3 balls from him. So he was awesome. And there were just times where like he's for this team, they really just needed to get it going. And Tyler, I don't think hit a 3 ball until like late in the second half. I mean, they just need him to step up more from this standpoint. You have to if they're gonna have any prayer in this one. They go into halftime, and it was a 12-3 discrepancy in 3 balls. So you come out of the at a halftime, and this was exciting because you came out of halftime before this game really got out of hand, and the Celtics stepped on the Heat's throat for good. And that was, you got some really, really nice play from Jaime and Jović again to start these games. But you had Tyler Herro. He got blocked by Jaylen Brown on a 3. And then you almost cut it to single digits. You got a Jović 3 to get it back down to 14. Jaime Jaquez goes coast to coast, gets it to 11. So you have this opportunity to cut it to single digits, and Tyler here just yaks it up. Tatum gets a bucket. Derek White follows it up with a 3, and that was really where it felt very much like, oh man, like this is going to be an impossible hamster wheel to try and catch up in this game. You can't afford that, and you need more from 14. You do. And then there were just times where like Bam, there was one where like Bam in the paint kicks it out to Caleb, goes to Tyler, back to Caleb, back to Jaime Jaquez at the end of the shot clock at his feet. Just like somebody's got to shoot. Like so you got to recognize when the good shot's there, and that was just not there for Miami. So, that this game was. It felt very much like, yeah, you can't breathe very much with Boston because of how potent they are offensively. But also, it did feel like Miami had some opportunities where this could have swung differently into different spots. But it's not going to feel that way if they don't get better performances from Tyler Herro. It's not. But when you don't have Jimmy Butler and you don't have Terry Rozier, and then you get a performance like this from 14, like, you're going to make this immeasurably hard on yourself. That being said, look, you lose by 20, game 1, did what they were supposed to do. They're supposed to protect their home court. You still have a golden opportunity coming up with 2 days off now up until that game 2. You take that game 2, you're sitting pretty. And you could feel, like, as soon as DeLon Wright got that down to 15, right, you could feel the cheeks in Boston getting a little squeaky. And that is the fun of this, is that, I very much am watching this game loose. It feels very much like a house money series for the Heat. But anytime you can make them a little bit nervous, man, it just feels fun. It feels fun. And Miami's got that golden chance coming up in game 2. They got some things they can tighten up for sure. And you got to hope that they're going to have a better shooting performance than they did today, if they're going to have any hope in this one. But okay, calm down, Jaylen Brown, dude. You're not like that, dude. You're not like, calm down. Doris Burke, calm down. With all this stuff. I didn't realize. I thought there was nothing in basketball that Doris Burke could love more than LeBron James, but apparently we found it in the Boston Celtics. But I'm lashing out.